I consider there to be three main versions of the song I'm a Believer. There's the original by the Monkees,
I thought love was only true in fairy tales.
the one everyone knows from Shrek by Smash Mouth,
Meant for someone else, but not for me.
and the one from Shrek the Musical.
Love was out to get me. That's the way it seems.
And if you combine all three of them,
Disappointment haunted my dreams.
haunted indeed. Since they're all the same songs, the lyrics don't change that much between the three versions, though there are some interesting differences. Smash Mouth decided to add a bunch of random words, like they added "and" twice to the chorus. Shrek the Musical added extra words, but not as much. Also, I use Genius to remember the lyrics and make sure I'm correct about certain things, and Shrek the Musical's version on there is just wrong. Just wanted to point that out there. That, or the version I'm listening to on Spotify, is wrong, but that doesn't make much sense. Moving on, Shrek the Musical is clearly doing a cover of Smash Mouth, cover of the Monkees. You can tell because in the second verse there's a line that in the Monkees version has seams at the beginning, but Smash Mouth and Shrek the Musical did away with that and instead have "oh yeah" at the end of the line. The endings to all three versions are pretty interesting. The Monkees and Smash Mouth are pretty similar, though weirdly the Monkees use the end of the first verse as their bridge, while Smash Mouth uses the end of the second verse. Thought that was a bit weird. Smash Mouth also repeats the chorus an extra time instead of repeating "I'm a Believer" a couple of times like the Monkees, but that's negligible. Shrek the Musical, on the other hand, is completely different. After the chorus, after the second verse, they just kind of start doing whatever they want. I have no idea what's going on there. But none of that's why I wanted to make this video. That's just because I wanted to be thorough. No, the reason I wanted to make this video goes back to the line in the second verse. The more I gave, the less I got, and the words surrounding that. Shrek the Musical has a slight change to this line that completely changes the meaning of that line and the one before it, and it pisses me off. Listen to Smash Mouth's version of the two lines.
I thought love was more or less a given thing. The more I gave, the less I got. Oh yeah.
Then listen to Shrek the Musical.
I thought love was more or less a given thing, but the more I gave, the less I got. Oh yeah.
It's subtle, but there is a difference. It's the word "but" at the beginning of the second line. Now, you may think it's not that important, but it completely changes the whole point of the two lines. In the Monkees and Smash Mouth versions, it's a clever twist of a common phrase. You hear the first line, and you're like, yeah, okay, love's something to be taken for granted. Sure. And then the second line, the Monkees and Smash Mouth are like, no. We mean it was something we gave but didn't get. It's clever. Shrek the Musical decides with the addition of a single word they're going to do away with all that pesky cleverness. With Shrek the Musical, you take the first line as you would normally take it in a slightly hopeful way. But instead of the second line changing the meaning of the first line, it just goes, "oh well, guess I was wrong," which is not the point. There's two reasons I know this. First, look at the first verse. Generally, verses have a similar structure, and "I'm a Believer" is no exception. In each verse, you have the setup in the first line, an explanation in the second line. The next two lines are the singer feeling attacked, and the verse ends with not being able to get a break from it all. Because of how Shrek the Musical has a second verse, they miss that setup explanation part and instead just do whatever that is. But hey, maybe they just wanted to mess with the verses. Fine, if it wasn't for, the chorus and the entire structure of the song. You've got the sad verse about how miserable the singer is, but then he saw her face and it all changed. That's where you could have put a "but" and I wouldn't have thought anything about it, because the chorus is a "but actually." You can't "but actually" in the opposite direction, Shrek the Musical. That ruins the whole point of the song. It's a happy song, but what you've done with this "but actually" is say she's been disappointed before. What's the difference about this time, Shrek the Musical? What? Because he saw her face? What was he doing the other times? It's stupid. The other versions have the singer never even having a chance to be disappointed. And finally, there's hope. Shrek the Musical's version is just some idiot that hasn't learned anything since last time, apparently. In conclusion, I'm a Believer by the Monkees. 10 out of 10. It's the original version and my personal favorite. I'm a Believer by Smash Mouth. 10 out of 10. A fantastic cover, and I'm afraid I'll get yelled at if I don't give it top marks. I'm a Believer from Shrek the Musical. 0 out of 10. Complete ass.
Seems the more I gave, the less I got.